Hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. And another Halloween video for my 2025 Halloween series. I will have a link in the end screen. That way. It'll be that way. At the end of the video. I'll have a link at the end of the video to my playlist with all of the Halloween themed cards that I've made this year, and I will hopefully still get several made before the official date is upon us. Today's video and cards, I made several cards. Back in August, Hero Arts had a release, and they had kind of two. One was like kind of holiday themed and one was Halloween themed, and the Halloween products just appealed to me. So I'd ordered them. By the time everything got here, I was right in the middle of Stamptember. So I will have links. I'll link to that release and all the things. And yeah, once I actually got a chance to sit down and start playing, I made, like I said, multiple cards. The stencil set especially, I absolutely love. That will work for anything. Can't wait to get into it. I used like some sparkle paste, a new to me splattering medium. I did some hot foiling. I had fun. I had loads of fun. So I will link to the release and the products I used, and then everything else, of course, in the description box below the video. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links and end up placing an order, I do get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. That is what helps pay the bills, keeps the channel going, keeps the lights on, enables me to keep bringing out content. And yeah, let's get into making these cards. So this is the Scattered Stars stencil set, and it's 3 layering stencils. And this one, like I said, would work for anything. It doesn't have to be Halloween. You can't go wrong with stars. Stars, hearts, little circles, those sorts of just basic shapes work on a million things. So I have panels of cardstock here. They're A2 size, so 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. This first color is Simon Says Stamps Honey cardstock. And I grabbed one of the stencils and I'm blending honey ink over it. I'm not worried about getting like a perfect blend or even like solid color. I'm going to be adding a lot on top of this. So I was just like, meh, let's just slap some color on, do our thing. I've got everything stuck to a grip mat. The back of my grip mat, I just keep the acetate on. That's why it slides all over my desk. I don't care. I use my grip mats just to hold the cardstock and stencils. It's fine. The thing to remember, if you're using like photopolymer grip mats, if you have a glass work surface, similar to mine, or just a glass work surface, it can be really difficult to get them off the glass if you fully stick them down. So I just keep the acetate on there. So anyway, the second stencil I used, Stardust ink. The third stencil we'll get to in a second. So I did my blending, and then I set aside those 2 panels of cardstock, cleaned off my stencils, and then I'm using these 2 panels of, this is like a coral shade of cardstock. This specific one I'm using is actually no longer available. It's from a brand that isn't in business anymore. But I flipped through my stash, and a very close color is Spellbinders Coral. So that's what I'll link to. Spellbinders one is just like a shade lighter, like barely. So very close match. So for this one, I used Concord 9th Grapefruit ink and then Simon's Blush ink. For the final stencil, with the largest stars in the set, I pulled out the Simon Hurley Slippery When Wet Astro Paste, which is gold. If you've never worked with the Astro Paste, it looks very cloudy when it's like in the jar, like just looking at what's in the jar right now, how it applies, it looks cloudy. You gotta let it dry. Just trust the process. Once it's dry, it's basically solid glitter. I really like this stuff. The thing to remember with pastes, especially glitter pastes, don't collect them, don't hoard them, use them. All pastes have a shelf life. They don't last forever. It's the nature of the formula. There's ways around it, like using press and seal, which I'll show in a second, and removing all the air, that sort of thing. But again, pastes just don't last forever. Some do randomly. There'll be little freaks of nature out there in the paste world that some will just magically last forever. Just don't expect it. And especially with glitter paste, because the formula when it comes to glitter paste, just they will literally harden in the jar, factory sealed, if they sit for years. That said, I have had this paste, this specific one, for well over a year now. I forget when these were first released, and I got, a few of them, and I'd actually used this one, and I hadn't sealed it up. So I was actually surprised when I opened the lid, and I was like, oh, thank goodness, it's still good to go. So just, do as I say, not as I do. Anyway, when I was done applying it over all the stencils, especially with glitter paste, again, you want to clean everything off because that stuff will dry like cement on your stencils, etc. And then press and seal. You could also use like cling wrap. I just like press and seal. It works better. And keep a little, roll of it here in my office. And either just apply it just right over the jar, or in this case, like pressing it right down to remove all the air. That also helps. It just helps kind of add an extra seal and will lengthen the lifespan of them. But do use them. Don't let them sit for years on end, sort of a thing. So I sealed it all up, cleaned off my stencils. If you can't immediately clean them, especially when using paste and especially glitter paste, put it in a tub of like warm soapy water. That at least will help prevent it from like hardening like cement. Okay, splatter. With the release, I also ordered this. Here it's released both white acrylic speckle and black acrylic speckle. So of course I ordered them because I was like, oh, anything splatter related, I'm here for. And this is my first time using it. I used the white. I'll link to the black as well. It looks awesome. If it works like the white, we're golden. Stirred it up, or like shook it up really well. You only need 1 drop if you're doing like 1 card. 1 drop will be enough. You don't need to water it down. I shook it up, put a few drops on my palette, used my fan brush, applied the splatter. And I really like it. This stuff was super white. It looks like the black will be the same thing. It's great. They're all great. Everything's great. But yeah, I was really happy with it. So I'll have to play with it more. I tend to kind of reach for the same things over and over again, but yeah, I'm glad I got it. And I will test out the black. I was gonna, but these cards I ended up doing a lot. So I added my splatter all over these, cleaned off my brush, let everything dry. And then there. Now you can see that gold, how it's just like solid gold glitter once it was fully dry. So I've got these 4 backgrounds, and now we need to start assembling some die cuts and all the fun things to make these into Halloween cards. So I've got the Witch's Hat die set. Love it. I die cut the hat from just a really dark gray cardstock instead of black. You could totally do black. That's fine. If you want to add a bit more dimension, go with a dark gray and then add depth with ink. So here I'm using Black Soot Distress ink and just a smaller blending brush and just blending it around the edges to build up a little bit of dimension. This ended up drying back more than I expected. I don't normally expect that with the Distress inks. And the only reason I really notice it is because I have the finished cards sitting here because I made these a while ago. I'm only finally getting, all the editing done. So it's been like, they have fully dried. And yeah, it's softened a lot more than I thought it would on this cardstock. It's not a bad thing. It's interesting to me. But you can't go wrong with any Distress ink. You can't go wrong with it. And Black Soot is very, very black. I love it. So I just did a really soft blend around those edges. And then all the rest of my die cuts, I just die cut it as is. I'm not going to add like any ink or anything else to that. So did that to my witch's hats. And then when I was doing all my die cutting, I'm running everything through multiple times because I was doing more than 1 card. So I've got the hat, the bow, the band, and then there's little florals as well in this die set. And the bow and the band I die cut from some cotton candy cardstock. The detail on the bow I die cut from some like pink glitter cardstock. And this bow, I was just, as I'm editing, it's like, I really like this die cut. Like the bow and that detail just makes it. This would look really pretty with just any die set. You know, if you wanted to do, like, you had die cut wreath, you know, floral arrangement, whatever you want to slap a bow on, that bow wafer die in this Witch's Hat die set is fabulous. As are these little florals. There's these two little, like, sort of daisy ones, so I die cut them from just scraps of white cardstock. The centers I die cut from the honey cardstock. There's this little floral, and I die cut that from the cotton candy, and then that coral cardstock, and the greenery was die cut from scraps of green apple cardstock. This is another reason why I've talked about this. I keep all my little scraps now, like all of them. My regular cardstock, especially my specialty cardstocks, I keep, you know, every little like speck of my cardstocks now. Because they're perfect for, you know, when you've got little die sets like this that have just little elements, little flower centers, little bits, those sorts of things. It's like, I end up using it and die cutting it. And that's what I did when I did all this die cutting. It was kind of it's one of those mindless tasks. That's why I don't hardly ever film. One, my die cut machine does not fit on camera, but also it's like trying to watch paint dry, watching me die cut. And these are the times where when I'm doing a bunch of die cutting, I'm usually zoned out, listening to music, catching up on, you know, a show, YouTube videos, podcast, whatever, you know? And yeah. So once I had all the die cutting, then it's just assembling, which was super simple. You know, you layer up the flower pieces, add the centers, and then, yeah, I die cut extra little bits of greenery, and then adhere them onto this hat, and oh, I love it. I love it. And then for my sentiments, I'm using the Happy Halloween die set. The Halloween word is enormous. Love it. I die cut the letters, like the word, twice from Here Where It's Pitch Black cardstock, and then stack them together. Normally I do like 3 layers. That's just like my personal rule of thumb when it comes to like die cut sentiments. But for these, I just did 2 layers of the letters and then die cut the outline from white cardstock and then adhered them all together. And yeah, it was simple, honestly. I just kind of picked a letter to start with, which in this case I used the N because it had that fancy little flourish, so it was easy to line up, and then everything else just lined up around it. So adhered all of that, and then the happy word is a banner shape, and the actual word, like the happy is 1 die, and then the banner outline is a 2nd die, so that just gives you options as well. So I popped the letters out of the black piece, and then adhered the little centers to those letters, and then the actual banner I die cut. I did one in that coral color, one in the cotton candy color, just to mix things up between the 2 cards. And then to adhere everything, I adhered the big sentiment to the card front with liquid glue. The hat I popped up with some Big Mama foam tape just to give it a little bit of dimension, just like so. And this does cover up a lot of the background, and that is okay. Between all the cards, you still get to see it. You still get to see it. So adhered the hat into place, and then I'm going to adhere the banner. And then I'll come back to this later and add a little bit more. We could stop here, but am I going to? Of course not. Of course not. I was just getting started. So did that, repeated it on the 2nd card front. For the other cards, I'm using the little ghosties, which is the Boo to You die set. And I die cut the little ghosties from white cardstock. As always, could leave them like this. But another way to add a little bit of depth and dimension is either really light blue or really light gray ink. This time I went with Speckled Egg Distress ink because it's a very pale blue. Even another step up would be to do that, like add the Speckled Egg, and then to add a really, really light gray, like Lost Shadow. Those 2 combined make like the perfect frosty-ish color, if that makes sense. I didn't think about that though, till I'm editing. I was like, that's right. I like adding, like I would blend this on and then I would blend like Lost Shadow over it as well. And it would just, chef's kiss, perfection. But again, you could skip that. It is what it is. It isn't necessary. But I added that little bit of, the frosty color. The Little Witch's hats are from the same set. Die cut those from the dark gray cardstock. Added the black soot. Their little faces in the die set, the faces are separate wafer dies. So you can either do like I did and I die cut it from the little ghosties. And then I'm just adhering scraps of black cardstock behind it. So I'm not having to like individually adhere every little piece, which you could do. Or another option would be to die cut the faces separate from black cardstock. Use just the little mouths and then add googly eyes. That could work too. Options. Gotta love it. So then for that little hat bands, I use that same pink glitter cardstock. And then the little brooms from that set. It's all just adorable. So there's also little cheek wafer dies, one for each ghost. Couldn't resist. So I die cut those again from tiny little scraps of the cotton candy cardstock, and then just pick those up with my little embellishment wand and adhere them into place. So all the little ghosts have little pink cheeks. Just stop it. It's too cute. So then, oh wait, there's more. This is the letterpress and foil. Letterpress, foil, and cut. This is the spooky season press plate set. Now, I've got an entire playlist. I have a playlist of all the videos I've done using press plates. I've got a playlist of Glimmer hot foil videos. I always forget to update the Glimmer hot foil playlist. Hopefully I'll remember. I love press plates. I cannot get enough of them. One of the things I love about press plates is they hot foil like nobody's business. Yeah, I don't know. It's whatever they make these out of, it foils better than hot foil plates, in my opinion. So you can use the press plates as like run them through the better press, press them with ink. I hot foiled them as I'm showing. So I've got my Glimmer hot foil system. It was already on and heated up. I chose the sentiments I wanted to use. I put them face up on the Glimmer hot foil machine. The foil I was using is the Speckled Aura Glimmer foil from Spellbinders. It's like, it is speckly. And you put the foil with the pretty side of the foil touching the plate. And then my cardstock. And then the two shims that come with the glimmer. And then you press the timer, and once it goes solid, you pull it out. And this part right here is in real time. I didn't speed this up. That's how slow I run it through my Platinum 6 die cut machine. Because the Glimmer hot foil machine gives it the heat, and then the die cut machine gives it the pressure. And I run it through really slowly, and there you go. And it's so good. It's so good. And then that set has coordinating wafer dies, which I love. So then I die cut. I hot foiled several. I had a few extras, and then die cut them. And then I did also die cut some scraps to stick behind the main ones for the card fronts. So I've got the little banners that are also part of that spooky season set. And yeah, adhered a second layer of the die cuts to the sentiments, just again to give it that little bit of dimension. And then adhered all my bits. So my little ghosties I'm going to pop up as well with the Big Mama foam tape. And then the sentiments just have that extra layer of cardstock on the back of them. So ghosties get popped up with the foam tape, and then the sentiments get adhered to the backgrounds with liquid glue. And pop him into place, and then pop my sentiments into place. Yeah, I love it. This is actually the first time I've used my Glimmer machine in a while. I've been using my Better Press like over and over and over again. And then, yeah, when I've hot foiled these sentiments, like that magic of pulling the foil away, and it's so good. It's so good. I love it. So anyway, I made my card bases. These are all top folding A2 white note cards, so 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And on the insides, I'm stamping sentiments from the Seasons Creepings set. This set does also have a coordinating die set, which I don't know why I didn't buy the coordinating die set. Well, I don't know, but I'll link to both. There's options. So I stamped the sentiments with Stardust ink and with Simon's blush ink onto the insides of the cards, depending on which ones I was doing. So for the ghosty ones, I've got the Boo and Seasons Creepings words. And then for the ones with the witch's hat, I'm going to put one of the hot foil sentiments on the inside. So then I just took another sentiment from that Seasons Creepings set, and I'm going to stamp that with the blush ink onto the insides of my cards. So I've got that stamped, and then I can adhere the hot foiled, like the glimmer hot foil and die cut sentiments to finish off the insides. Love it. And then, yeah, you keep seeing me using my magnets. These are the Glassboard Studio magnets. I always have these listed and linked in the description box below my videos. And I always have a code as well, so you can check that out. Anyway, as my final embellishment, because I adhered all the card fronts to the card bases. And then my final embellishment is these little bats, which are from the Happy Halloween die set. There's these two little bats, and I die cut them from some black sapphire glitter cardstock, so they are glittery. And I'm just going to adhere them into place with little dabs of glue, and I put the glue just behind the bodies so the wings are popped up a little bit. And these are going to be my final little embellishments. And this was another thing where I just, you know, shut my brain off and die cut scraps of glitter cardstock to make little glittery bats. Love it. And then adhered them to my cards. So once I got those adhered into place, these cards are going to be complete. So very non-traditional colors. This was a lot of fun. And yeah, we did stenciling and glitter paste and splatter and die cutting and ink blending and hot foil. Everything but the kitchen sink, y'all. These were fun. And yeah, that glitter paste was really fun. I need to use that stuff more. I need to follow my own advice. Use your pastes, folks, especially your glitter paste, but use them all. Use it all. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. So we got glitter and shine and the glimmer just, it's so hard for me to like film and take photos of it because it freaks my cameras out, but it's so pretty. It's worth the hassle. It's worth the hassle of the filming because not my forte, but yeah. Shine, sparkle, cuteness, little ghosties are adorable, and that witch's hat is, that bow, all of it. All of it. I love it all. That's why I purchased all of it. Anyway, like I mentioned, I will have links to all of the things in the description box below the video, so you can just expand it, check it all out. I'll also have picture links in my blog post, which will also be linked directly below. It's a little easier to navigate, so you can check that out as well if you're interested. And then all the other like playlists and whatnot, I'll link to those at the very end in the end screen. So you can pop on over to those if any of that interests you. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me, for thumbs upping and commenting. Subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!